Gideon Mbui, student of the G.T.U, PhD, Theology and Ethics. So I came here, arrived here in Castro Valley, Coal Canyon we call it, back in May, during the, just before the George Floyd protests. And I had just lost my uncle, and through a friend of mine who was so gracious, because she just felt that I needed to change the environment to help with grieving process. Enormous blessing to have a place to relax and just read, be safe, far away from the hassles of the city life. In all honesty, there's no way to quantify the impact. Because it's just so multifaceted. It's just from every aspect, from every direction you look at it, especially as an immigrant, as an international student, and as an alien, they call us. That's how we are officially referred to us, and that's how it feels, the alienness. Because during the conversations around Black Lives Matter and all the protests, sometimes you feel like your voice is ganged. You can't say anything because the expectation is that you have nothing much useful to add to the conversation. Yet you do. You have something to say, actually. But so you got to sit with it, and sometimes with some possibilities of depression, sadness, deep sadness, and frustration. And then you try to try to stay sane in the process among the pain. So the Hummingbird story, which really just is what frames my approach to my ministry and project right now, is this story that I had during my class at the G.T.U in the spring, human rights and personhood class. And our professor invited us to hear Professor Wangari Maathai, who is a Kenyan late professor, environmental activist, social justice crusader. And Professor Maathai told this story during her acceptance speech when she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2004 for environmental conservation efforts. And she tells this story about the hummingbird, about how there was this big, huge fire in the forest, and all the animals congregated out of panic, and they were like, we just done. Just like here in California, when there's all these warnings and you got to move out and all that and evacuate, and the elephants were ready for the next phase, whatever that might be. And the hummingbird decided to do something. And they kept going and back and forth, making all these endless trips to the river. And with their little beak, they would ferry drops of water to try to put out the fire. And the animals were like, are you crazy? Like, just relax and let's wait, see what happens. And the hummingbird, Wangari Maathai reminds and says, the hummingbird just kept saying, no, I'm doing what I can with what I got. So that's how I see this speaking to our situation as a call for each of us to do what we can with what we've got. So in my work of artwork, wherever I do all these steps and ingredients, I see it as having a three-pronged effect. Being inward work, outward, and then upward. The inward is in their ability to still me down, to calm me down, so that I have a sense of sanity. I see them as pillars, ingredients, I would call them, ingredients for making a meal. And for me, one of them is my knitting, like knitting. And I'm so glad that I can knit, because through my knitting, I envision a situation where broken relationships are knit back. And so as I knit, this is a gift I'm finishing up for one of my hosts. So this is both a gift to the other and also to myself. So knitting, it just calms me down, and also it's a subversive exercise, because where I come from, men should not be knitting. So by knitting, I'm reclaiming my agency through knitting. Knitting, envisioning restored relationships, knitting back broken relationships, knitting back our communities, our nations, the global village, knitting back. We can all do it. We can do something for sure. And then the other step is my music. So I might just spontaneously, when maybe I'm stressed or something's happening, I might just decide to listen to my music on YouTube, from the YouTube, and sing or compose spontaneously. And I'll begin saying, Yesu yere tone moyo, tone moyo, Yesu yere tone moyo, tone moyo. And that just calms me down, or I might even share that music with someone, or I might spontaneously just sing, especially during birthday celebrations. I get all these updates on Facebook that it's so-and-so's birthday, my friends, and then I might just say, Happy birthday, dear Jess. Ha, 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 ha. And then I play with this and doing all this voice, whatever. And happy birthday to you. And the many people that have said that my singing or my song made their day, or made them rejoice, or filled them with joy across the globe, in Kenya, here, wherever, Canada. And it is a blessing. And then the other step, or the other ingredient, is my hospitality, my cooking. And just just yesterday, I had some wonderful meal, which I hope to prepare for you guys. Kenyan meal, like Kenyan ugali, or Kenyan tea, and then sharing with my guests and making it, which then really is the opposite of what should be happening, because I should be waiting for people to host me, right? And then sympathize with me. Well, so offering hospitality is a way of saying, I can do something. I might be limited, but I can be a host with whatever I got, with my Kenyan hospitality. Karibuni sana, most welcome for my pork and sukuma wiki. It's gonna be a tasty meal. Hospitality, we make a change, we impact other people's lives, fill their bellies, and make their faces smile, right? And then my other one, the gardening, like gardening and harvesting tomatoes. And recently I harvested my second watermelon. It just feels so good when you eat something from your sweat, and doing and working all this, and reminds me of home. This has restored my rural Kenyanness. It's the first time, this is my first closest encounter with goats. And I was like, oh my goodness, this gets me back to my village. And the day I arrived is when these twin goats were born. And that's the female one. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy one of them as my goat. So I bought that one. And so I have a goat in California, right? Just when you feel that you've come to an end, will actually be the start of a fresh season. It has happened to me, and it will happen, and we just need to hold on just a little longer. There's a song that says, hold on just a little longer, and it will be all right. Now, I know that, but at the time it's happening, during the depression and the loneliness and being that helplessness and the paralysis, you feel like all hope is gone. And even such songs don't make sense. Well, from experience, I can say that it shall be all right a little longer. But it takes work. You might have to reach out to others, call someone, chat with them, just be there, reach out, and be open to receive love also. As we wait for stuff to be maneuvered in Washington, D.C., or in police or in offices, we may not be there to say anything. Our voice may be little. We might not change anything, but we can do something in the process to maintain our sanity as we await that big salvation, that big day of salvation and deliverance. Chombo cha upendo wako, chombo cha baraka yako, unitumie upendavyo.